had until Friday to find her a home. Then she asked one quiet question that changed everything. Parents with adopted kids, why did you choose adoption? I didn't choose it. My daughter Emma chose me. I was her social worker, assigned to find her a permanent home after her third foster placement failed in 4 months. Emma would slide under tables whenever adults talked about her future. The first time I met her, she was wedged under the office coffee table, clutching a torn dinosaur book. Her foster mom sat above her and told my supervisor Emma had too many problems for a normal family, and Emma just stared at the carpet and kept turning the same ripped page with her thumb. For months, I brought families in for supervised visits. They showed up smiling, and then Emma would shut down. She'd go quiet, hide, or flinch when someone leaned in too fast, and I could see the parents get nervous. Afterward, they would tell me she was sweet but too hard, and they weren't sure they could handle it. But when it was just us, Emma lit up. She could name dinosaurs like it was nothing, solve huge puzzles, and explain fossils with broken crayons. She wasn't broken. She just didn't trust adults to stay, not after losing her parents and getting sent back again and again. Then my supervisor gave me a deadline. Find her a placement by Friday, or she goes to a group home 2 hours away. On Thursday, Emma crawled under my desk during a meeting, knees pulled to her chest, eyes fixed on my shoes. Instead of doing the usual coaxing, I sat on the floor beside the desk so she didn't have to come out to be heard. After a long silence, she whispered, "What if nobody wants me?" My chest hurt, and I said, "What if somebody already does?" She looked up like she thought I was teasing her. I wasn't. I told her I wanted her, not as her social worker, but as her mom. She didn't smile. She gave this tiny nod. That night, I called my supervisor and said I wanted to adopt her. I knew it crossed a line, but I couldn't watch her get shipped off again. I was single, in a small one-bedroom, and I wasn't rich, but my supervisor said we could start an emergency placement while paperwork moved. Emma showed up 2 days later with a trash bag of clothes and that dinosaur book. I gave her my bedroom and slept on the couch. The first night, she stood in the doorway and asked if I was sure. I said yes. An hour later, she asked again. The next night, too, like she was waiting for my voice to change. Once the home visits and forms started, Emma started testing me hard. My keys disappeared the morning of school. She swore she didn't know, and I found them later stuffed behind the cereal. She went silent for days over small rules, like no candy before dinner, and she watched my face like she was counting seconds until I quit. Then I came home and found marker all over the walls, big loops and dinosaur tracks in permanent ink. Emma stood there with the cap in her hand, calm on the outside, shaking on the inside. I took one breath and said we'd paint. We rolled cheap paint on together, and she kept glancing up to see if I was lying. The worst test hit out of nowhere. Her teacher called and said Emma told her I hit her. My stomach dropped. A caseworker showed up that same day, looked around, asked questions, checked Emma for marks, and took notes. Emma barely spoke. She just stared at the floor like she was already packing in her head. They cleared me fast, but the fear didn't leave my body. That night I sat with Emma on the kitchen floor and kept my voice steady. I told her I knew she was scared I'd leave, but saying things like that could hurt people and could get her moved again. She whispered, "Would you leave if I was bad?" I told her I might get mad and set rules, but I wasn't leaving. The adoption process dragged for months. There were classes, more visits, more papers, and 100 moments where Emma waited for the no. Finally, the court date came. Emma wore a purple dress she picked herself and held my hand like it was the only solid thing in the room. The judge asked Emma if she had anything to say before he signed the final papers. Emma stood up, smoothed her dress, looked straight at me, and said in a clear voice, "I picked her first. I just had to wait for her to figure it out." The judge wiped his eyes, called a short recess, and came back with the papers. He signed, slid them across the desk, and said, "Congratulations." Emma squeezed my hand and leaned into my side like she finally believed she could stay. Now people are saying I crossed a line adopting her. Was I wrong?